Hello and welcome to Math World. Today we're going to talk about factored form of the quadratic equation. Alright, so factored form just means that we have kind of these double parentheses. We'll see later how to come up with factored form from standard form, but right now we're just given the factored form. And each form will tell you certain key characteristics. Factored form tells you the zeros or the x-intercepts really simply. In order to find the x-intercepts, all you do is look at the two factors, the two numbers that are inside the parentheses, and use the opposite sign of those. So x minus 2 means that one of our x-intercepts is positive 2 and 0, while the other x-intercept, let's see, plus 8 would be negative 8 and 0. So there's your x-intercepts or your zeros. Let's see, over here we have x plus 2, so one of them will be negative 2. And the other one, x plus 5, would be negative 5 and 0. Factored form really easily tells you the zeros or the x-intercepts. Now what it can also tell you is the y-intercept. Now standard form tells you the y-intercept pretty easily, but you can find it in factored form also. All you do is multiply the two x-intercepts. Negative 8 times 2. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. So that means our y-intercept is negative 16. 0 and negative 16, written as an ordered pair. Now the tricky part is not only do we multiply the two x-intercepts by each other, but we also have to multiply by any number or coefficient that's in the front of the problem. Like you see this negative 3 here? So in this case we would do negative 2 times negative 5, which is positive 10, but then also multiply by this negative 3 that's in front. And that means that we're actually going to get a negative 30. So over here on the second equation, our y-intercept would be 0 and negative 30. So it's a little tricky. Don't forget you got to multiply by that number in front also. Alright, let's see. What else does factored form tell us? Well, it also tells us the direction that the parabola is opening. If there is a positive number in front of everything, now you say there is no number in front of this equation, but imagine there's a 1 here. 1 times all this. So 1 is a positive number, so that means this parabola will open upward. It will open upward. Now over here we have a negative 3. Negative means the parabola is going to open downward. But actually, not only is it going to open downward because of negative, but the actual number decides on how kind of wide or narrow the parabola is. So this parabola on the second equation, not only is it going to open downward, but because it's 3, it's going to be very narrow. The larger the number, the more narrow it is. If it was a fraction, it would be very kind of wide. So we get to see the direction, how narrow or wide the parabola is, and we easily find the x-intercepts and y-intercepts from factored form, and this is all without a calculator. So think about this the next time you're seeing a factored form equation, and hopefully it'll help you out. Well, that's it, and I'll see you in class. Now for a word from our sponsor, Papercut Games. I would like you to meet Meeple. This is Meeple. He's a little wooden character, and he lives in a world called Carcassonne. This is one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite board game of all time. In this game, it's so cool because you start out with a blank board that has one tile or one puzzle piece on it, and the game builds itself kind of like a puzzle. So each turn, you're going to draw from this bag a tile or one of the puzzle pieces. And when you pull it out, you have to make it match the pieces that are already out there. So when you put it down, you got to make sure that any roads are connecting with other roads, cities are connecting with other cities, and farms are connecting with other farms. As you place the piece down, you put out your meeple. And your meeple will go into a city or a road or a church or something that will earn you points as you build it. So it's really cool to see the whole game build itself as you play. And each person's trying to earn points and get the most points with their meeples. Also, this game has lots of expansions. There are expansions that have little robbers that come out. There are knights and princesses. There's even a pig that earns you farm points, and my favorite, Smokey the Dragon. And Smokey, when he comes out, gobbles up meeples. So it's a lot of fun, and I really think you should check it out. Everyone I play with loves Carcassonne.